Hello and welcome to Makers.dev, episode number 110. Joining us again for the second time, first joining us in episode number 70, Tim Leland, the founder of T.ly, and now the founder, potentially, of a new thing to do with malicious links. Tim, can you tell us about the new thing? What are you working on?
Sure. Yeah, it's great to be back. I enjoyed talking last time and sharing some of the stuff I'm working on. But yeah, so the new product is kind of a spinoff of some of the stuff I've learned over the last 4 years of working on T.ly URL shortener, but it's specifically around malicious URLs and just like phishing links that people commonly use URL shorteners for. So they'll take a malicious URL domain and create a short link and then share that out. So I've seen a ton of different combinations and variations of how people are using these links. And honestly, I think I mentioned this before, but a big challenge with running T.ly has always been keeping the service safe, keeping malicious links, at a minimum. And this new product is really just taking all of what I've learned and pulling it out of T.ly into a new service that I could, use. I'm really using it myself, but my goal is, to sell it and allow other people to use it within their own product.
It's cool. So what's the status of it right now? Where are you at in development?
Yeah, the status is at the very early stages. It's definitely a working product. It's very simple as far as the actual interface. Right now, it's really just a grid to see your URL scans is kind of what I'm calling it. And it's really just one API where you pass in any URL and you get back a score. And that score will help you determine if it's potentially malicious or not. But of course, as you know, building any new product, there's a ton of back-end work that always takes way more time to get it off the ground. So, there's account, passwords, integration with like Stripe. Haven't really gotten to like social media accounts, but there's so many steps to get a new product off the ground. That's kind of what I've learned with doing this. It's a ton of work to get something started.
Yeah. Without getting, I'm sure there's some secret sauce in here that if you don't want to talk about it, that's okay too. But how do you tell if a link is malicious? That seems like an impossible problem. I guess domain age might be part of it, but what's the process of doing that?
Yeah, so the way I had been doing it from T.ly is I've just from seeing so many malicious URLs come in, they get flagged. There's a lot of services out there that do this. They really like brand protection for companies. So like PayPal, let's say somebody creates some fake PayPal account stealing username passwords. A lot of these services will, contact you. In the case of T.ly, send emails saying, hey, this is a malicious URL. So you'll see it. You'll see, okay, this has, certain keywords, certain values in the URL that could mean it's malicious. So, but the way I've always done it before is I've used a lot of like public databases. There's several of them out there that have like, these URLs, these domains are malicious. But unfortunately, that's usually ones that have already been flagged. And it's kind of like antivirus. You're always going to be like one step behind the virus creators. So with this new product, and the reason why I decided to kind of break it out is especially with all the, trends of everything going AI. And I thought, well, I wonder if there's a way to use AI or machine learning and build like a model that inspects a URL and then can help you to determine even before, this has been picked up by any of those other services, is it malicious? And that kind of led me into a deep dive of, reading a bunch of like research papers and other things and learning, very little on the AI space, but I've learned enough to build a model of, I've taken, millions of URLs from my own database that are malicious in other places, and then built pretty much a model that can take a URL, inspect every piece of it, and then determine if it's malicious. And it does it. A lot of the other ones work by doing a scan. So it's a scheduled. So they send it off and we'll schedule it, and you got to come back and check. It might take, 30 seconds, a minute, whatever. In my case, I'm returning the score immediately. It's like a real, quick scan. Right. I plan to add in the future a more detailed scan that would do that. But the benefit of this is you could just, hit an API, you get a score, and it's real simple, straightforward to use.
And it sounds like part of that is you're analyzing the URL, seeing if there's any fishy parameters in the URL. Part of that is some AI magic that you've trained, I don't know, maybe ChatGPT or something to recognize the sorts of qualities of a URL that would make it suspicious. And then you also have all these databases of malicious URLs, so you can check the blacklist and see, was this already blacklisted? Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Lots of value in that I could see for people to use this. How can we help you? What do you want to turn this into the next product? Do you want to hone this and refine this just to use it for T.ly? What are you thinking?
Yeah, right now I'm using it for T.ly, and it's definitely been helpful. I don't have any numbers in front of me, but I know I've flagged a whole lot more malicious URLs before they kind of get out there. So it's been helpful for that. And I, decided to not build it within T.ly and to break it out into separate service because I had seen and people have asked, what are some of the ways to do this? And I figured why not, break it out and let other people sign up. Some of the other tools that are out there are, price-wise, really unaffordable for the scale of URLs I would need to check. So in my case, I couldn't even use some of the other tools because the cost would be way too high. So that's why I, ultimately built it myself, decided to sell it at a lower price point. It's kind of similar to the path I've taken with T.ly is, build a simple version of an API that, anybody could use, make it more affordable, and, just see if there's any interest out there. And right now, I'm the only customer, but I haven't really spent much time marketing. I've been still putting the final touches on, just getting it all to where you can even sign up and use it. But yeah, starting over, thinking about marketing, sharing, promoting a product is definitely a big task. So I'm really just taking it kind of slow. I'm just going to see, if there's any interest.
Yeah, that's cool. One of the things you mentioned, like one place where I think you have a huge competitive advantage is you have this database of T.ly URLs. And that's the biggest, like if you're building an ML model, the biggest problem is getting enough clean data. So you have a huge data set that other people don't have access to. So yeah, I think that's a perfect application of, a competitive advantage in AI. So that's cool.
You also, in working on this, you can't lose, even if this is just something that you use internally. This is something that's making the T.ly service better, and you're able to check for malicious links better. And based on the volume of T.ly, you're making a non-trivial percentage of internet links cleaner. Like this is a great project to be working on. I'm a little unclear what direction you want to be moving in, though. Do you want this to turn into a service that is replacing some of the income from T.ly? How, I guess zooming out a little bit, how would you like your life to be different? And it's perfectly fine to just be working on this. And it sounds like you're having a blast with making AI models and making this a really cool service to use internally. Are you looking for other potential use cases of other customers that would be using this? Do you just want to make this the best, like technically the best way to detect malicious links just for T.ly? What is this ultimately doing for you?
Yeah, I think it's the classic problem of, as a developer, you kind of get, a little bit bored working on the same project. So you end up wanting to, and then the AI is kind of the hot new thing. So yeah, it was definitely a learning experience. So I enjoyed that aspect of it. And I justified it in my head that it's for T.ly. So I'm still in some ways working on that. It was just, I got to add payments is the, and users and all that stuff versus just making a separate, internal service.
That doesn't sound nearly as fun as working on the AI part. Like you're lighting up talking about the AI. And I don't think you're going to enjoy doing the users and the billing and stuff.
Yeah, I have a pretty good system for how to do that, and I use some tools. If anybody is interested, so I use like Laravel, and they have a lot of like starter stuff. So that kind of gives you a huge jump start, but it's still a ton to get it all customized and set up for users and Stripe billing and things like that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, the AI is, it definitely started off as, let me build this AI model, and that's all it was. And I was unsure if I was going to, put it into a separate, repo and put it out there, or just put it inside of T.ly completely. And I thought, hey, if I needed this, somebody else might need it. So let me just, build it, put it out there. I'm in no giant rush to find 1,000 new users to use it. But I think there's spam and malicious content. Chris and I were talking about this is another way it could go, but there's, YouTube has a problem with spam comments. What other areas could this branch out to where you could really use AI to help determine malicious content all over the web and just make it a safer place? There's so much scamming, phishing, malicious stuff going on, and it seems like AI could help with a lot of that automatic moderation. So this is just really is focused on links, but a lot of times a link is the entry point to that attack. So email or clicking on some kind of app, and you end up somewhere else, and you think you're on your bank site, but really you're giving away your username, password to some malicious user. So
the link is the malicious part of the comment. Usually that makes a lot of sense to me. I feel like it's like right now you're the only customer for this. We don't quite know who other people are who would be buying this. I don't think you want to be selling to YouTube. I don't think you want to try to go through that corporate sales process to figure out like how you can be the malicious link.
Not through YouTube. So I can basically, we talked about this on Twitter, and then like the next day, I think I saw two different cases that I talked about. So one was someone I follow who has a Discord community, like a channel, and someone stole his avatar, or not stole, used his avatar and a name that was almost his name to send out Bitcoin scam links DMs to people. So wouldn't it be great and he was complaining about this, and he was saying like, I have no way to stop this person other than banning them when I see them. But wouldn't it be great if there was like this persistent, service that just watches for my avatar posting a Bitcoin link and just deletes it?
Oh yeah, like
so that's one thing. And then
Experian or identity
kind
management,
of,
but for the internet. That's very interesting.
Yeah. And then the exact same thing happened to a very popular YouTube channel, and he put out a whole video. So this is Jerry Rig Everything, and he gives away phones sometimes. And there was same thing. A new account took his avatar and said, "You want a phone? Click here, fill out this thing, and pay $100 shipping," or something like that. And they pay the shipping, and then say, "Where's my phone?" And it's because it was fake. So wouldn't it be great if you could just detect that and delete the comment? You know? So that's where those two things came from.
I could totally see that as a business. And also that would be a very different business than T.ly.
Yes.
Tim, what do you want? Like, you could totally do this. How do you want your life to be different? Like what do you want that you don't have right now?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I'm going to frame that also by saying, like, I think the reason you're working on this is because the AI is super cool. And I totally agree with you that this sounds like a ton of fun. This is a great project to learn AI stuff. You have a great data set to pull this from. This sounds like a really cool project, and it's fine to be a really cool project and something that you use internally with T.ly. Not everything has to turn into a business. If anything, this could be fun to like just open source the library, open source the model, and let other people use, contribute to open source for people doing this. But if your goal is to start another business, that doesn't make sense to do. You could go more of this. You could be the Experian of internet identity people, but I don't know that that's what you want. Like that would be a very different business. That would be a lot of redoing the same sorts of things that you did for T.ly, remaking all these marketing pages, figuring out a new sales funnel. What do you want?
Yeah, maybe I still plan to grow T.ly, so my main focus is growing it. And
Okay.
like you said, this was just get in. I wanted to see if I could use AI to improve the malicious link detection, and I think I've accomplished that. And there's still work to be done. I think I could keep expanding on it. I have a long list of additional checks and more advanced stuff to do to increase the score. But my mind, building this API could allow maybe somebody else to build like a Discord bot on top of it, or some kind of YouTube bot that is checking. I'm not sure if I want to go that far with it myself. That's just a huge undertaking to build specific tools for all these different sites.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another thought too, is and there's already tools out there that exist, but on a URL there's always a redirect. So the bot could be very simple. Is when somebody clicks on a URL, it really just does this redirect check that checks to see if it's safe and then allows it to continue or not, and just making an affordable version of that that kind of does these checks on the fly. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm not really, if there ends up being some kind of organic interest, if I get some SEO, people searching, more people that are doing indie hacker type projects that have people who comment and they're looking for a tool to make their app safer and protect it from malicious links. That's kind of my target audience for this, at least starting out. And then if it takes off, that's when I would maybe switch to it. But in a perfect world, I would have 3, maybe 4 apps that I'm working on that, are all, growing equally, and I can kind of jump in between and work on different ones. And I feel like that just kind of helps me with risk management of not all my eggs in one basket type of thing, to where if one thing blew up and got shut down, or some issue, that I wouldn't, just have to start all over. I like working on multiple different projects too. So,
okay. This is what I was trying to get at. This is what I was trying to dig to. You're looking for diversity of product. You don't want all your eggs to just be in the T.ly basket. You'd like to ideally be running 3 different things that you can bounce back and forth between them. And I totally get that. I'm doing exactly the same thing. And that's going to help with boredom. That's going to help with diversity. But you're looking to start something else now that could start to diversify the income from T.ly. Does that sound right?
Yeah, that sounds right. Less risk, right? With everything, it's nice working on one thing, but it also feels, would you rather have one product making, X amount, or 3 making the same amount? I almost feel like I'd rather have 3. And as long as they're not, more work, tons of work on, all of them, they're simple, products that people can sign up for, use, not a ton of support. So I kind of try to be specific on, what I'm building, I guess, to where it's not going to be a ton of support and ton of maintenance and endless features.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I think that's really clarifying and good. And so, so even though I spotted this YouTube and Discord thing, don't get distracted by that. It sounds like, if you can build a malicious link detector that also helps T.ly, then that's diversifying your products and letting you improve both of them at the same time. So yeah, I think that's a really good fit.
Let's talk then about how you might, what the next steps are to turning this malicious link detector into a product that can start to have diversification. And Chris, I think Chris is really good at clarifying the path of the next things to do, at least for me. So I'm curious for your take on this, but I think it doesn't even make sense to do the billing before you figured out who the customer is for this. So maybe just start by offering this as a free API, make it clear that this is a trial. This is in beta, so it's going to change. but try just opening it up and post it on Hacker News or something, and it's going to cost you, I don't know, less than $10 in server usage. Or I assume you don't have any significant costs with this. I don't know if you're hitting the GPT API or anything like that. But then just focus on figuring out who the people are who are using this, and then go from there. And only when you get to a point where there are people who are trying to pay you money do you even think about implementing a billing system. Chris, how would you work towards?
That's certainly one way to do it. Yeah. If you were trying to do more business to business, which you're not, but if you were, then I would try to tell you to go that way. If you're trying to make it sounds like you want low touch consumer type of thing. It sounds like that's more like where T.ly found its footing. I mean, you still need to get traffic to it somehow. So yeah, posting a demo on Hacker News or something is an interesting way to get initial spike of traffic. Do you have any ideas about how you're going to get traffic to it, either at the beginning or ongoing?
Yeah, I think that's the challenge for anything new, especially if it's like new domain. And I don't have like a huge social media following, and that always helps. I think the people that post the latest thing and they have 100,000 followers, they can pretty quickly get people. I usually go the SEO route, trying to get it featured, shared different places. I haven't put a ton of time into there. Besides, I listed it on some of my sites to kind of see if Google would pick it up, and I did a couple posts on like indie hackers. But fortunately, so the billing is, I would say, done, at least the beginning of it, because back to, this is a shout out to anybody who wants to start something and they are familiar with Laravel, but there's something called Spark, Laravel Spark, which is like a SaaS starter kit. And it really gives you a jump start where it uses a lot of Laravel specific stuff, but you can integrate with Stripe or what's the other one, Paddle, and get recurring payments working pretty quickly. So fortunately that's done. So if anybody signs up right now, they're put on like a 5-day free trial. I probably should just do like a completely free plan, like what you're saying, and let people just use it. But right now, feature wise, is really just one API. So that's kind of the hard selling point. It's like all it is just one API. Will people sign up for that? Maybe. I'm not.
Could be a hard selling point, or it could be a huge differentiator. Like, if that's all it is right now, I'd feature that really prominently. Just be like, just hit one API and all your problems are solved, or whatever. Yeah.
The simplicity of it, I think, it models the simplicity of T.ly, right? It's a thing that does one thing really well, and you don't have to spend any mental juice figuring out the intricacies of it or what the back and forth is. Oh, I had a recent example of this. There's 2 different APIs right now to use AI to clean up audio. One of them's from Dolby and one of them's from some other audio company, I don't remember. But one of them is this really complicated AI that doesn't API that doesn't really make sense, and there's all sorts of fiddling you can do with all different kinds of API configuration. And the other one is you just drag and drop your audio into the page, and then it's better. And I'm sure if I had a better understanding of the documentation of the first one, I think that's the Dolby API, I'd be able to get similar output from the second one. But being able to go to the second one and it just works, and it works without me thinking about it, and I get a better result than after an hour of tinkering with the first one, that's a better product for me. That's not a better product for everyone. I'm sure there are audio engineers out there who know the terms of I need a parameter to decrease the sibilance in this audio because that's the specific problem I have with this. But I'm not that person. I just want it to be better, and I want to not think about it. So yeah, I would lean into the simplicity of it. I think that's the strength of you as a founder, is building things like that just really nail a particular use case.
Could you, I wonder if your free trial thing could actually just be a text box, like think the Google homepage with a box and say, paste your link here, and you click it, and it gives a report or whatever. And then you say, do you want to do 100 of these? Sign up for the API or whatever.
Yeah.
So you'd probably want to put some like, IP protection or something so people don't spam that page. But like let them paste in a URL and give them a taste of what the output they'll get is.
I love that. And then right below that, you could have the develop, like, are you a developer? Here's the code you could have used. Here's to call the API in, and you have it tabbed with all the different languages. And you spin up a really simple package for every language that just hits that one API endpoint. And yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I mean, that's good because that's kind of what it is right now. So if you go to, I'm still not 100% certain on the name, but it's Link Shield is the best thing. So, and of course, linkshield.com is taken. It's linkshieldAPI.com, which isn't great, but any ideas there? Open.
Nice. Enter a URL to scan.
Chris, that's exactly what you described. That's funny.
And it gives you back a score, and there's API docs, and you can sign up currently right now. So, but yeah, some of the stuff you mentioned, saying do you want to do more, through the API, click here, that type of stuff would be good.
Makers.dev has a risk score of 0.
Excellent.
Yes.
So does news.ycombinator.com.
Cool. Yeah, and you've already got API docs. This is great. Yeah, you need to market this. That's the next step. And you're really good at SEO, so it sounds like just play the SEO game. Yeah, I think you're doing great.
Yeah, that's good to hear. It's kind of nice to hear. The funny thing is that the homepage kind of ended up looking just like t.ly, pretty much just a input box to input a URL.
No one but you cares. that's totally fine.
If it's not broken.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny. I could probably go the same route of building an extension to go along with this, similar to the URL shortener extension that allows you to check a website to see if it's safe and kind of give you the score, as you're browsing type of thing.
Yeah. So I'm thinking, I also watch this YouTube channel called Kitboga, and he scams scammers. That's the saying, like he calls up these call centers that try to scam people. It would be amazing if there was a Chrome extension I could put on, like my mom's computer or, someone's grandma's computer or whatever, and it would automatically not let them visit sites that are malicious. That'd be super cool. Something like that.
Doesn't Chrome already do that? When I go to a lot of sites.
If they're aggressively malicious, it will do that. But what it doesn't do is like go to, like what a lot of these people do is they have you log into like a fake bank account, or they have you like, send them like buy stuff on, like buy gift cards online and send to you or whatever. So like there are things you could prevent against that Chrome would let you do.
Yeah. So Tim's URL safety identifier is probably more sensitive than Chrome's. That would make sense to me.
Yeah, maybe. But I also just added another thing to your to-do list. So maybe don't do that.
This also feels like a different audience. Like the sort of person who's installing a Chrome extension is a very different person than someone who's going to use an API to check a link. But I would like to add one thing while we're going down that path. I noticed for both my mom's computer and my mother-in-law's computer, they had a type of, I don't know if you can call it a virus, a type of malicious installation in Chrome where, I don't know if either of you have seen this, but it's exploiting the ability of web browsers to give desktop notifications. So on both of their computers, they were getting this notification that would pop up in the upper right-hand corner. For my mom, it was like, hey, your Norton antivirus is expired and you need to, and she doesn't have Norton antivirus. Yeah. And it had a little logo of the system preferences icon in there, but that was just the fav icon of the website that was sending the notification. And then when you click that link, it sent her to a site that then was going to do something bad. And it was almost the same thing on my mother-in-law's computer, but she had like 5 of them, and they were all telling her different things that like she had a virus or something. And one of them was playing noises.
It's like those kind of sites. So like just block those sites completely.
Yeah. But that's a very different business than
it is.
This.
But it's a business that could use Link Shield.
For sure. Yeah.
Like,
maybe that's something that you could spin off from Link Shield. Maybe that's your third business in this trifecta of stability.
Or I could see this as engineering as marketing. So once you get Link Shield up and running, and then you can say, here are 3 cool things you can build with it. A Discord bot, a YouTube bot, a Chrome extension.
Yeah.
Go ahead and make these products and use my backend.
Yeah. Yeah. Ooh. Yeah. Because if you're marketing to developers, now developers are going to be really interested in the story of t.ly, And you can say like, hey, here's how I was successful in T.ly. Here's what makes a successful Chrome extension. Don't try to do it for link shorteners because I'm already winning that game and there's no way you can beat me. But you could win that game with some sort of an extension that's using the API for my other service, or just be sort of generally helpful. Like here's how you market on the Chrome Web App Store, because the person who's going to be interested in how to market on the Chrome Web App Store is the person who's going to be consuming this link safety API.
Yeah, lots of good ideas. I think the envision I had, since it's right now just an API, would be to do kind of like the dark sky model, to where they sold their API. I guess they had an app first, but really, they sold the API, and it was like a really simple API, and they just charged per usage. So that's kind of been my plan. But they also had an app, and then eventually were acquired by Apple. So if I, build the API, allow other developers to use it, but also then built some of these other tools that ultimately help as like marketing to help protect, not just links, but, like you said, bots and, an extension would be interesting. I don't know. I'd have to think about that, how to do it. But that's, T.ly goes back to, and we mentioned this when we talked before, but I created the URL shortener extension and really just let it sit out there for, back in like maybe 2017, 2018, and just put it out there and just watched it. And Google kind of shut down their service, and it freed up, a lot of interest, and people went looking for an option and found mine. And then, go back and listen to the previous episode, I guess, if you want to hear the full story on that. But
this feels like a pretty good transition for me to ask a few questions about the thing that I'm most curious about, which is T.ly, because you more than doubled revenue on T.ly in the last 6 months without really trying. And if I were in your position, like, I'd be entirely focused on that. And I am curious why you're not. I see the argument of wanting to diversify and wanting to have 3 different products that you're working on. But it's going to be like the amount of work that you put into doubling MRR on T.ly. My understanding from like what you changed was like you changed a URL that after the post install, it went to a place where you're trying to sell people on T.ly instead of a page where you're just showing them a bunch of ads. That's my understanding of the only thing that changed. And that doubled MRR. And it's still growing at the same rate that it'll probably increase by the same amount over the next 6 months. Versus building a brand new thing from scratch, that's a ton of work. You got to figure out billing, you got to figure out the marketing channels, you got to write a bunch of blog posts, you got to figure out the SEO game again. Like, if you want to do that, sure, but I don't understand. And I would love for you to help me understand your allocation of energy of why you're thinking about it in this way, and why you're not just figuring out how to make more small tweaks to T.ly that would make it double again in the next 6 months.
Yeah, maybe that's why I wanted to come on here to get told that.
Okay,
you always give, both of y'all give good advice there. Yeah, so some of the things I think you and I talked 6-7 months ago, and I ran through a bunch of things that were working, some things weren't working great, and you really gave me a lot of good ideas, and I implemented those. And so some of the stuff was simple, like changing URLs. Some of the other stuff I wrote down in the last 6-7 months, I've really been focusing on. Like, one thing, I don't know how much any of these matter, but I had a blog for T.ly. It was a subdomain. I moved that to a slash path. So Google says it doesn't matter, but I think it does matter to be on the same domain. Could be wrong there, but I've also added like 60 plus new blog posts all around like marketing topics, and some of those are ranking pretty well. I've written some myself, paid people, all that stuff. I added an affiliate program. That's not working great. I'm probably spending more paying for the. I'm using a tool called rewardful. And but I think it helps because you end up getting backlinks, so people share, their affiliate code.
Oh, clever.
Yeah, it's at the end of the day, I'm like, is it really worth it? But if I'll reach out and be like, hey, do you mind, link sharing my service, in this article that may mention something about, a competitor URL shortener, and I'll say, do you mind adding mine? There's not really much value to them, but if I say, hey, I have an affiliate program, do you mind adding it? It seems to work a little bit better there.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't thought about affiliate marketing as a like backdoor tool for building backlinks. That's really clever. I'm going to steal that.
Yeah.
It used to be in the good old days. It used to be you'll like underhandly pay people to post their links. But those get detected and shut down when that happens too much.
Because that'll just be like a giant page of thousands of links, and Google figured out that that's.
But affiliate codes is a good way.
Yeah, I think it's a win-win for both if it works. And then I've created like several specific like marketing landing pages. That's probably a tip you gave me, I think, and still probably a ton of work to do there. And then some other development stuff is I've enhanced like one links. I think I mentioned those. I've added like theming so people can create. Those are like our link in bio feature.
Yeah.
And then I've done a bunch of like add-on tools to help with like SEO. So like there's like a QR code generator, so you can go create QR codes, a UTM URL builder. So just like anything URL related tooling wise, I'm trying to make little add-ons to the site, really just to help. They're all usually like free things, no password, but just to bring in more traffic. And Zapier integration, and I've done like bulk URL shortening and importing of links. So those are features that people have asked for. And then,
I'm sorry, is all this stuff you've done in the last 6 months?
Yeah,
this is a ton of stuff.
All right, I was going to say this is the perfect example of like from the outside, Christian was like, you did this one cool trick and doubled revenue, and from the inside, it's like, no, I did these 30 things, and all of them helped a little bit.
Yeah.
So this is great.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one thing. Come up with some idea and just implement it, and it might take a couple hours per thing, but it seems to compound. I don't really do a great job of like tracking stuff over time, but when you look back, over a year, it seems like it helps to do a little bit here and there. But one thing I need to look at is on the SEO side. I think there's a lot of work. I've never used like Ahrefs, and I think you've mentioned you use that, so that's something I've considered looking into. But I've been trying to move up and rank. Like the keyword URL shortener is a big one that is searched, and right now I'm like right under Bitly, which is a pretty big milestone. I feel like 4 or 5, something like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So that's definitely helped. So trying to figure out, if I could see, improvement there, that would be huge.
I'm blown away that you're able to rank that well in SEO and you haven't used a keyword research tool like Ahrefs or SEMrush. That feels like very low-hanging fruit. There's courses you can go through. I just went through for SEMrush. If you sign up, I think it's $100 a month or something, and they assign you a person who goes through weekly calls and walks you through how to use the tool ostensibly, and trying to reduce churn on the tool and get you to have your workflow built around the tool. But also they're teaching you SEO. They're walking you through like, here's the process of doing keyword research. Here's the strategy of how this works. And there's also free courses from Ahrefs that are really good that you can go through on your own pace. And I'd recommend going through both. I think that's probably going to be unlocking another few percentage points of growth for you for the stage that you're at.
Yeah, definitely. I'll check out one of those. Do you recommend one over the other, or? I
recommend both. They're very different. The SEMrush onboard concierge thing is very personalized, and the Ahrefs is very academic. So depending on, if you have a free afternoon and you just want to go through a class, do the Ahrefs class, and then to make sure that you're pushing yourself forward, have the weekly calls with SEMrush. I would do both.
Okay.
Cool. So what are your next steps? What, I don't know. What are you thinking?
Yeah. I keep, keep writing content, trying to build, awareness of the tool. And, the more people I can get to use it, the better. I've debated on, adding, right now I have you can use it for free, but if you make an account, it's required to pay. I've debated on just letting it, opening it up some more and allowing more people to use it. That's something, we could maybe dive into that, but I don't know. There's a lot on the, marketing side I could improve. So that's kind of my next tips. I think I said that last time is, you could build the best tool, and if you don't do the marketing, that's kind of why the new product is so difficult to think, okay, to start this whole marketing thing back over is just a ton of work. That's really where it matters to build something that people actually will use. Is you got to find those people.
Yeah. Could you? I'm thinking of a powered by link shield API. I think do you have a place where you can take traffic from t.ly and put a powered by link shield API badge or something on it?
Probably just the homepage could be one place.
Yeah. Because that should get clicks. I mean, based on the volume of traffic you have. Yeah.
What if it was a premium feature of t.ly to validate that the links were secure? I don't have a great understanding of your audience, so I'm not sure if that would be valuable. But
the users are the ones putting in the links, though, right?
That's the problem.
So
yeah, I'm thinking I don't know, if I'm a bank and I need to use a link shortener for whatever reason, and I want to help my users that I'm sending these links to feel more secure. If I could check a checkbox or pay you a little bit of extra money so that every one of those short links that I send to my clients, when they first click on the link, it's a splash screen of a lock that says secured by the secure, I forgot the name of your product, I'm sorry, Link Shield API, secured by Link Shield API, and then it automatically redirects. That just helping people feel little warm, fuzzy feelings inside. In the same sort of way that, this isn't a great example, but when you click off of Facebook, sometimes it sends you to a landing page where it's like, hey, you're leaving Facebook. This site might be malicious. Be careful. But if it was that, but said, hey, it's okay, this site is not malicious. I've checked it already. That seems like it would be valuable for some sort of person, but. Yeah. I don't know who your audience is. I'm not sure who the people are who are buying this shortening stuff.
There is one thing that we talked about on Twitter too, which is you might have to be careful legally what you can say. Like if you say this is not a malicious site and then they go there and get a virus.
Yeah. So don't say that.
Are you liable?
But you can say that it was scanned with Link Shield API and look at this logo of a shield. Don't you feel secure? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be something that could. So yeah, I think Chris said this. The malicious users are the ones using my tool. They're not usually, paying for it. So, but I think you could sell it to, obviously selling to Google or, Facebook would be a difficult sell because they already have, a lot of this stuff they're trying to do. That's why if you click on any link leaving I believe YouTube or Facebook, they all have that redirect parameter. So they're doing checks, on it currently. It's a tough thing because it's constant. The malicious links are always changing in domains and things, but I could sell it as a product to somebody building some kind of blogging social media site that they're starting out and they're a little bit smaller and they don't have a giant team of security experts and they're just wanting a tool to protect outgoing links. Sell it and market it that way.
I'm thinking of something like Rumble, which is a alternative to YouTube. that Russell Brand, I think, just moved to, and there's a whole movement of more conservative friendly alternatives to the big social media companies, marketing themselves as like anti-woke, all the things that you would get canceled for by talking on YouTube. If you post on this other site, you won't get canceled. So yeah, all those people will need to have malicious link checkers. I had another idea, which was in the case where someone has been linked something through t.ly that is a malicious site, that can be a big splash page of like, hey, Link Shield has detected that this is a malicious site. Don't go here. And also call to action, install the extension or use the API, or I'm not quite sure who you want to be capturing there. Because most people using this are going to be just end users who just care about safety, who clicks on a malicious link. So a browser extension might be a good call to action for them, but I don't know if that's the core product you want to sell.
Another idea I had, and these are all just random ideas, which aren't really what you want, but it seems like a WordPress, plugin to detect spam in comments would be a huge deal too. And that probably wouldn't, I'm going to say not take that much effort, but I probably would. But if they had to sign up monthly for Link Shield, and then you have just a small WordPress plugin that automatically blocks URLs and comments.
Yeah. And I don't know if you want to make the plugin or if you want to just sell API access to the person who's made the plugin.
Yeah. If you can get someone to make it, but then you got to get in front of them and,
ideally being the API would be best, because that just limits my, scope of what I have to, build. And, anytime you start with extensions or plugins, you got to update it, maintain it, market it, all the promotion stuff. So anytime there's like a new app, so if you ever see something that kind of goes down, you can go and like scan I'm trying to think of an example, but what's the new social media site that people were going off of from Twitter? It got
Mastodon.
Yeah. It got blocked, and it was, if you went and scanned the domains, they were like flagged malicious content because they have the same problem. They have people sharing malicious links anywhere somebody can enter in some kind of URL. There are going to be some spammer out there posting them. So that's where it goes back to selling to more of the smaller teams of people, indie founders that are just building something that allows users to input anything, and they don't have a way to check if it's malicious. That's kind of my hope, is to maybe reach out, contact them. But it goes back to that this is a ton of time and the marketing side of things that can be slow. But if I could get a few of those, and that could be kind of prove that people are willing to pay for it and stuff. So,
well, I think you're in a really good spot because, like Christian said, you can't lose because building it helps t.ly. And you have time. Like, this isn't your full, it's not the thing that you're relying on for income. T.ly is. And so you can build this thing on the side, see if anyone uses it. And if some people start to use it, I think you can get a really good feel for who's the type of people who use it, how did they find out about it. And that's where you can use as a springboard to get more. So I think it's just about complete. It looks like, you said payments are almost done. So if you push
another 6 months and you'll be able to accept payments.
Yeah, maybe. And let it sit there. And then we talk about TikTok development. I think that was a microconf thing at some point. TikTok back to t.ly and let Link Shield sit for a little while and see if anyone uses it. Like, I think that's an okay plan because of how you have your project set up. Yeah.
If you can get a Mastodon client using this, that feels intuitively like the play to me. If you can figure out how do you get called for every Mastodon post that gets posted. That's tricky though, because it's decentralized. I'm not sure I think the ecosystem is like a bunch of different people making different clients. And
that might be better. Like, could you sell to the individual person hosting the client, the Mastodon client? I actually don't know how Mastodon works, but I know that individual people host the servers, right?
Yeah.
So maybe you could sell to them.
Yeah.
I don't know how.
If you had an add-on that they could just install in their Mastodon instance, I think the way it works is you
But that's
just
another
spin up a
add-on.
VPS. Yeah. So maybe what I see you wanting to do is like you just develop for a handful of languages the library that's going to call your API. And then that's all the scope that you have. You're just going to make a really good API. You're going to maintain this very simple set of libraries. But then the end user person who's going to want to be paying for this is going to be someone who has a Mastodon instance or someone who has a WordPress blog who just wants to click a button and pay someone money. But there's that intermediate step in between of who is the person who's building that button that you can just click a button, and then that's installing the integration that's going to be filtering the links.
Yeah. So maybe, but I think Mastodon is a good example where people who run Mastodon nodes, servers, whatever you call them, they're sort of hackery anyway. So if you had a big blog post that was like, here's how you call an API to protect your Mastodon, server.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people who host those are programmers probably who would be willing to write a little API wrapper. So you wouldn't have to actually write the thing. You could just write a blog post about how to do the thing.
Yeah, especially if you have a free tier, if that's the way we're going to go, because for people in the Mastodon space to adopt this, intuitively, I feel like for them to recommend it or for someone to build a plugin for it, there's going to need to be some minimal functionality that you can use for free that like if it's just a paid service, I think people would be left with a bad taste in their mouth if they're building a plugin or something for this to install in Mastodon. But if it's a very generous free tier where 80% of people who have a Mastodon instance are going to be able to use this and never have to pay anything, then I think that's when you can evoke from the community people building out the plugin for you.
Yeah. I kind of like one of y'all maybe said something about a splash page that says this link is, checked by link shield. That could possibly be like the free plan would show that. And if they want to get rid of that. So it's kind of funny if I end up building that, it's almost like I built another version of a URL shortener that does a redirect. It kind of went full circle.
That's funny.
But a lot of those work. Like I know there's email protection things to where, if you work for a company, every link you click in email, it redirects to this page and it's like checking, I guess, behind the scenes. And then it allows you to then redirect it to really is to protect, the employees from phishing emails. And that's kind of how this could work. But target it not towards like, the business world, but like towards consumers and other, indie hacker type people.
Yeah, I like that as a free plan to have a splash page and with a big old link to, if you operate your own thing, click here to sign up. I like that.
That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, because now you have the free tier that is doing what it says it's going to do. It's going to protect your Mastodon server from malicious links or WordPress or whatever the thing is. We could probably come up with 10 more like types of sites like this that would use it.
Anywhere comments are posted.
Yeah. Anywhere user generated content is available for other people to click on, any sort of social thing like that. So the free tier is like, we're going to protect you from the malicious links, but there's going to be this kind of annoying splash screen every time you click on a link. And if you'd like to remove that, you can pay for the API access. And then I don't know, there might be other things people want to customize about it. Email notifications if a malicious link gets posted or something.
Yep. Yeah. Lots of good ideas.
Love it. And oh my God, dude, you doubled MRR in 6 months. Like I would love to talk more about that. Like that's pretty cool. That's the thing people are trying to do. And it sounds like there's a lot of low hanging fruit with T.ly still in marketing, and just like go through the onboarding experience and watch other people get onboarded and install your extension and realize that, oh my God, like you don't see the button to upgrade because it's below the fold or it's not high enough contrast or whatever else. And if I just increase that, oh wow, conversion rates on that page just went up by 5%. I really don't want to discount that you have an engine that doubled MRR in 6 months, and it's not an insignificant amount of money. Like if you double it again in the next 6 months, that's an even more amount of money. Like that I would be cautious not to discount the effort that you put into t.ly. Sounds like you're feeling a little bored. You've been doing this like it's a link shortener. There's no exciting fancy AI problems being solved here, but it's solving a real problem. This is helping a lot of people. There's a reason a lot of people are paying for it. So and like the work to grow it is going to look different from the work that got you to this point. It's going to look like marketing. It's going to look like onboarding. It's going to look like user interviews and understanding people. And if you don't want to be doing that work, you can reinvest the money and hire a marketing team. You can hire a growth consultant. If you don't enjoy that type of work, you got an engine now where like you can start feeding it back in on itself. You don't need to be the person doing everything. This is a business. Part of running a business is like you outsource and scale things up, and you don't have to be the person doing everything. So yeah, don't forget about that. Like you got a really good thing going. I see the motivation to want to diversify, but I don't think you need to.
Yeah, I was going to ask if there's ever a world where you bring in maybe an employee, but it sounds like not quite yet, but like series of consultants or, something like that to sort of like operate and do marketing for you and stuff like that. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, I've considered it. I mean, I've thought about, I think when we talked last, I mentioned I haven't been running Google ads or anything like that, but I was then. I kind of stopped doing it and focused on, building some of the content myself. But I have thought about, looking into getting somebody to help with ads or, any kind of marketing stuff.
Yeah.
If you got any recommendations, send them my way. Or if somebody has ideas, contact me. Because I definitely, that's the tough thing. It's like, I'd be willing to, to pay somebody to help with those things as long as I feel like it will be, worth it. It's just, there's no guarantee, I guess, in a lot of those.
Yeah, it's easy to waste a lot of money on consultants and get bad ones, unfortunately.
I'm working right now with someone named Asia, name Mathos,
Arangio.
and her last name now is Orange. She told me how to pronounce it and I forgot. And I feel embarrassed now. She has a site called Demand Maven, and she does growth audits where she, and I'm doing a plug for her because like I've worked specifically with her and I'm going to be working with her on File Inbox, but there's other people who do this, but that's a person I would recommend who I think would solve this sort of problem.
Yeah. Send me her information.
Will do. And I'll include it in the description for anyone else who'd like to do that. That feels like a pretty good place to land. Any other things either of you want to wrap up on?
Where can we find you online?
Yeah, obviously t.ly if you need to, share any kind of links. And I'm on Twitter, try to be pretty active. My handle's Tim Leland, and then timleland.com is my blog. I haven't been doing much there, but you can go check out and see some of my projects and other things I've listed there.
All right, cool.
Oh man,
we'll include.
I almost lasted until the end of the episode to see. I was so close.
How long have you been holding that in?
Like 4 minutes.
Yeah.
I was trying to wrap up quick.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's authentic.
That's right.
Is that the end? I got distracted.
That's it.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thank y'all.
All right.
See you.